Hello and welcome back. The Crimewatch lines here are still open, 01 811 8055. And for the past 90 minutes, in fact, detectives behind us here, and indeed police up and down the country, have been working on hundreds of calls.
Earlier this evening, we showed how a gang of robbers forced their way into a country house in Norfolk. They got away with a lifetime's collection of antique silver worth £100,000. Detective Inspector Kevin Coyle, good news or bad?
Well, we've had a very good response to this. We've had about 50 telephone calls here and roughly the same at Kings Lynn Police Station, which have given us information regarding the job.
Have you got the silver back? Have you got any good leads towards it?
No, we haven't got the silver back. We have got some leads to follow up in relation to the silver, but more leads have come in regarding the people through the video fits and the descriptions given by Mr. Vince.
Really? There's a picture of one of them that was at the front door. Another guy burst in at the back door, and that's him. Now, you've actually got information on these two. How good is that information, and where does it come from?
Some of it from the public and from other police officers has named people, and detectives will be following up these inquiries almost immediately.
Right. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, now to our Aladdin's Cave of stolen loot. Was any of that yours? John Bly of the Antiques Roadshow has been working through the calls. And John, has anything been claimed?
Well, yes, indeed. It's most gratifying to have so many people ring up. Particularly, we've had two calls about the clock. One from a lady who claims that it was hers and it was stolen 2 Christmases ago. Wouldn't it be nice, in fact, if we could, in fact, replace it for her this Christmas? We've also had a couple of people recognising 2 of the muskets, and these cannon have had several people claiming them. They're quite important items, and I do hope that we get these back into someone's home. Most exciting of all, I think, is probably that the dagger on the right-hand side, someone has claimed that, and they've described it, and they couldn't possibly have seen the details they've given us over the telephone. So that is in itself most pleasing. I'm sorry that no one has actually laid claim to this beautiful porcelain, and this lovely little cabinet is still wanting a home.
Thank you, John. Well, now to the incident desk. We've had well over 200 calls for this alone tonight. And with what they've learned so far, here are David Hatcher and Helen Phelps. Helen, first, the case of the rape in Mill Hill. Has anybody come forward?
Yes, it's been a very heartening response. Many local people have come forward with information after seeing the artist's impression. The attacker is described as about 5'3", very short, 25 years old, with light gingery hair and a pock-marked face, rather an acne-scarred face.
So quite distinctive.
Very much so. And of course he was walking his dog that answers to the name of Bruce. In fact, this case has prompted a young girl to ring in to say she was raped by a man fitting this description. So if anyone else has suffered a similar attack, please phone. All your calls will be treated in the strictest of confidence.
Right. And the very sad case of Jason Swift, who was found in Chipping Ongar. Any more sightings of him apart from the one you knew about in Stamford Hill?
Yes, there have been. There's been sightings at main line railway stations in London, and also a sighting of him at the Midland Bank in Stamford Hill, where he tried to exchange from foreign coins. Now, it is known that Jason had a foreign coin collection, so perhaps other people associated with money might have had a visit by him.
If so, please do ring. And David, the man who robbed the Leeds Permanent Building Society in Chesterfield looked as though he might be identifiable from the cameras.
That's right, yes. He's the man who snapped up £2,500 and was snapped in the act. We are hoping that we may well be onto this man. We've had several names suggested, and in the past this sort of case has been very successful. He, remember, left a festive greeting with the cashier. I wonder if he'll be spending Christmas with us.
And finally, the case of 15,000 bottles, wasn't it, of German wine, which was stolen?
Yes, that's right. We've had over 50 calls in relation to wine, generally, and 6 specifically about the one relating to the bottles marked the Nick Wine Bar from a London police station. So if you've got some bottles marked the Nick Wine Bar, please call us before we call you.
Subject close to your heart, and there is a reward, of course, of £4,000.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Well, next, that attack on a family in Chepstow. 2 armed men broke into the Harris's house and waited for them to come home.
Hannah! Ben! The dogs aren't here.
Sorry! Get on the floor! Everybody down!
Chief Superintendent Mark Waters, a particularly frightening crime. Good news or bad?
Yes, we've had an excellent response, far better than I thought we would.
Really?
Yes, tremendous amount of interest in the jewellery. and particularly the crossbow.
Now, there are the two items of jewellery you described earlier, very distinctive. There's the pin.
There's 3 pearls in sapphire, about 1.5 inches long, and there are ruby eyes in the bracelet, in the ram's head bracelet. A lot of interest in that, and a lot of information to follow up.
Good. The crossbow that was used to kill the dogs.
Yes.
That was fairly distinctive in itself.
Yes, it's a Barnett Commando. It's one of the most powerful in the range. Very powerful weapon, silent weapon. A lot of calls of saying that people have seen similar type of crossbow.
Now, I gather you've heard that there's a man in custody tonight, equipped with a crossbow.
There's a man been in custody at Harrow Police Station with 2 sawn-off shotguns and a crossbow, which we'll be following up tonight.
Horrifying to think there might be more than one lot of people armed like that.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much indeed.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, finally, the murder of Sandy McClelland, who was stabbed and killed in September this year. Clothes similar to these, jeans, a jumper and a head warmer, could provide the vital clues to the identity of his murderer. They weren't in fact Sandy's, but when police found his body in the boot of his own car, he was dressed in those clothes. And when forensic scientists examined the headgear, they found the name Kellett on it. Now, Detective Superintendent Baines, that's perhaps the most vital clue, and you've had a lot of calls.
Yes, we have had, as you can see, a number we've had in the studio here and a similar number at our incident room in Leeds. With regard to Kellett, of course, we've had a number of calls from people who've served in the army in particular with men by the name of Kellett, and those we shall be pursuing in the next few days.
What about the man called Stewart? Have you had any people who might know who he is?
Just a few calls, but again, nothing really specific at the moment, and we would appeal once again for that man to come forward. It may well be that he's got nothing whatsoever to do with this incident.
But we want to eliminate him from our inquiries.
Exactly.
And this ticket, which we've shown before, it's very important. We thought it was a laundry ticket stapled to the bedspread. Any more information on that?
Yes, again, a number of both serving soldiers and ex-soldiers have told us that they believe they've seen similar tickets on laundry whilst they've been serving with the British Army on the Rhine in Germany. So again, that's another useful lead which we hadn't had previously.
Good. And finally, has anybody come forward who might have known or seen Sandy?
Yes, a very important matter's come to light. The incident room in Leeds has received an anonymous telephone call from a man claiming that he met Sandy by prior arrangement as a result of an advertisement being placed in a gay magazine in the Leeds area. He met him in a Leeds hotel. This is yet another sighting of Sandy in the situation that we described before. We would appeal for this man to get in touch with us again. Any information he gives us will be in the strictest confidence.
Right, so please do ring. Thank you very much indeed.
The lines are closing at midnight. Our apologies if you found them engaged, but if you have and you still can't get through, we'll give you local police numbers in a moment, and all the numbers are on CFAX. If you can't get through, please do write to us. It's Crimewatch UK, BBC Television Centre, London W12 8QT. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for calling if you did. As we always say, please don't have nightmares. Do sleep well.
And we'll, of course, be back next month. Meanwhile,
good night.